Welcome to Time of Death. This video is for informational purposes and in no way meant to glorify or condone violence. In today's video, we'll be discussing the murder of Joseph Carlos Barela. Barela was shot and killed on Sunday, July 4th, 2016, near the 710 freeway and Firestone Boulevard in Southgate, according to LA County coroner records. Francisco Corona was subsequently arrested and charged with the murder. The following is the evidence at trial. Defendant Francisco Corona was a member of Bell Gardens Locos. His gang moniker was Flaco, and he had a Bell Gardens Locos tattoo on his face. Victim Joseph Barela was a former member of North Hollywood Boys. He was involved in drugs, had money problems, and had many enemies. According to one of his friends, Barela was often running from people and lived his life watching his back. Barela's girlfriend, Laura Rice, used to live with Corona. In May or June 2016, Rice was selling drugs in territory claimed by Bell Gardens locals. Corona came to tax Rice, which a Bell Gardens police detective explains occurs when someone is conducting business in the area that gangs claim as their territory. Corona collected the tax by taking Rice's cell phone and some drugs worth $10 or $20. Rice then told Barela what happened. Soon after Barela learned Corona had taken Rice's cell phone and drugs, he confronted Corona. Barela's brother-in-law, Maxwell Huerta, who had known Corona for several years and had also been taxed by him, witnessed the argument. According to Huerta, Barela and Corona argued and called each other names, and Corona pulled out a knife. Huerta saw that Barela also had a sharp object in his hand, which may have been a knife, and that both men were up to stabbing each other. Huerta said that until he intervened, Barela did not want to get away from Corona. On July 4th, 2016, approximately 1 month after Huerta witnessed the argument between Barela and Corona, Barela visited Huerta in a tent by a riverbed near Bell Gardens where Huerta lived. The tent was at the bottom of steps that led up to the top of the riverbed. Huerta gave two versions of the incident that day involving Corona and Barela. In a videotaped police interview on September 2016, a few months after Barela was killed, Huerta said that at approximately 5 p.m. or 6 p.m., he heard the sounds of an argument coming from the top of the riverbed. Huerta went up the steps to investigate and saw Corona and Barela about 120 feet away from him. Huerta initially thought everything was cool, but then he heard Barela call Corona a bitch and yell, "You gonna take me out? Fucking take me out." Huerta saw Corona had a gun. Huerta continued to walk forward until he was 15 feet away from the two men. Huerta said Corona looked at him, looked at Barela, and shot Barela in the side. Barela fell to the ground and began screaming as Corona was holding the gun, looking at Huerta in his eyes. Before getting on Barela's bicycle and fleeing, Corona said to Huerta, "You better not say nothing." An autopsy concluded Barela had been shot from an indeterminate range. The cause of death was a single gunshot wound from a bullet that entered the left side of Barela's body and exited his back, injuring several organs and his aorta. The police did not find any forensic evidence such as fingerprints or DNA connecting Corona to the shooting. Corona denied he killed Barela, claiming his friend Smash did it. Corona acknowledged his prior confrontations with Barela, but claimed that he had been in Huntington Park with two friends, Maria Gonzalez and Jose Lopez, at the time of the shooting. Investigators were unable to find either individual. Following the trial, the jury found Corona guilty of second-degree murder and found true the firearm allegation. The court sentenced Corona on the murder conviction to a prison term of 15 years to life, plus 25 years to life for the firearm enhancement. Joseph Carlos Barela was 33 years old at the time of death.